see, I think we're slowly going live. Yep, it's here. And we have the chat open. Let's see if I can also be. I don't think I'm that audible. I'm really hard to hear, it seems. Let's get advanced properties. 1, 2, 3. Let's test. Gotta wait until it's a little bit caught up on the stream. Let's see. It's a bit better. It's good enough, I think. If not, let me know and we'll fix it. Alright, let's quickly put it in the Discord. Going live now, working on the crafting system. Alright, good morning everyone. Today we can finally get started on the crafting system. Let's have a quick look at what I have been working on. Since the last stream I've done a lot. There's a lot of new stuff. So let's open up one character. One thing I added yesterday is that now you have different weapon holding poses during the walk. We're now finally holding weapons normally instead of straight up, which looks a lot better. You can also holster your weapons like this, so you're just holding them, no longer in your hands. This works for all weapon types. What else? We've also implemented armor, so I can take off armor pieces like this. Now we're mostly nude. You can take off shoes and all stuff, and it works pretty nicely. We've also implemented abilities. So, for example, we have this fire ability, and we have a smash ability like this. So there's some real progress. Let's turn the volume up. So there is some progress being made on the game again. A lot of bug fixes. I spent a couple of days reworking the multiplayer implementation so that it would work with all these new features, and it finally does. So our next step is to work on the crafting system, I think, which will be challenging for sure. We need a lot of stuff for the crafting system that's currently not in the game. One of them is gathering materials. I think we should define a couple of materials that we will gather, which will be resources for it, or not good resources, but just resources in the game, like wood, like iron, all that stuff. I'm still not entirely sure how I want to have those. Part of me wants to just implement them as items, that you have them here in your inventory, and then have a split on the inventory here, so we can filter easily. To me that would work. Oh yeah, we also implemented fall damage, so now this is too high and you get damage, which may be too extreme, to be honest. Nah, maybe. We'll need to see. So we need to try out a bunch of stuff. But in any way, the first step would be to make like a bush somewhere that you can hit and that drops wood, and then we can somehow pick up wood at some point. That's probably the first step anyways. The most extensible system is to really do it just like an item and then have it stack up until, yeah, who knows, whatever max value we set, right? Picking cube roll is like 50 or something. I do want to go higher, but yeah, that's basically the plan to start on. Then for the actual crafting, we'll also need some more stuff. We'll need new buildings for different crafting stations. We need to implement crafting station, the crafting UI. I do think crafting recipes can just be largely bound to the weapon templates, stuff that we have. But also the weapon and armor templates that I have. We still need to add a way to generate something specific for a certain level. So I need to set some kind of level ranges there. So there's definitely still some work to be done. But last time, as you may remember, we implemented the shops. So we can also buy armor and stuff. And we implemented quests. So we've made some good progress already. And some other stuff I kind of have a small list of systems that are now the focus point. And once those systems are done, the focus will really shift, for me at least, to just make more content on the game. More enemy variety, more weapon types, more just weapons in general. Yeah, just a lot of production type stuff. Which will also be easier to stream, because then it's making some voxel art or creating a new biome, all that kind of stuff, instead of making a whole system from scratch, which, you know, takes time. Oh yeah, I also reworked the physics. You used to be able to really stick to this. You no longer can do this. The physics is mostly fixed. Okay, apparently not really. It's still quite doable to push yourself into surfaces. I'm not sure how to fix that yet. Normally I can't. But then this force is apparently strong enough to do it. I still need to spend time fixing that, I guess, at some point. But a lot of the bugs that we had were fixed. So also, if you stand on top of an enemy, you no longer die from fall damage, or you are able to stand on top of it, like here the bunnies. I kind of just bounce off, which makes sense. You cannot stand on bunnies. So the combat's starting to feel a bit better with the abilities and the holding animations being different. It all just feels a little bit better. But still, the game is quite early days. I have no clue why they are not showing their animations anymore. But to be honest, once I improve the AI, that's when we'll fix it, I guess. But also on these you cannot really stand. So, but these, yeah, they do. Just have it right if I go far enough. And they are running. They're just normally running. Ooh. So we completed the quest, we got some gear, which is a sword, which is not better, actually it's worse. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to still make in the game and to add, but the systems are... we're getting slowly more towards like a system complete kind of game. Or at least like the basics of the systems are there. Right, it's not perfect. And not fully complete once I've implemented the crafting, beam generation, mobility options, and mega city generation. Of course, a lot is still missing then, but that's really the core things I will be making still in the next 1.5, 2 months. And after that we're moving on to adding just a bunch of content first before moving on to any new systems. And just improve stuff and do it like that. Of course, fix bugs and stuff. But anyways, let's get started. Let's open up Voxel RPG, the assets, environment, no, Magic Voxel environment. So here we have the grass, and let's start from the grass. Let's duplicate, and let's make this a bush instead, and the bush will be larger. I'm not an expert in like Magic Voxel and stuff. I just wanted the colors here, so let's erase everything and let's start working on the bush. We need a stem, and then I want this color just a little bit darker. Make it a little bit darker. Let's see how we do mirroring. Okay, so it's this. Is it this X, Y? Yeah, it's this. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's really it, right? Just something like this. We start with this. X, Y, Y, yeah. Stems are way too big. Like, holy. And then we attach more and more. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Let's take out a bunch of random corners and stuff. Make it look more bush-like. Yeah. Something like this one still. Let's do the whole. And this looks. Nope, this looks better. Okay. So now we have a bush, and we need to spawn this as an entity. That's probably now the next step. And it's an entity that we should be able to damage. Yeah. I don't want to make this a whole character. We need to somehow make it damageable easily. Oh, I never thought of this from developing the combat system. It's maybe annoying. But let's see. We have like a candle. We have like a candle scene here, yeah. So we have. Where is the scene located? That's now my main question. It's in scenes. Oh, we have an entity. Yeah, no, never mind. We found it. Okay. So create new scene. And this is a static body or something. Yep. Okay. So we create a new static body. And it's not a 3D scene, but it's a static body. Body 3D. And we call it bush. In the bush we'll get the Vox file. It's under assets. It's in Magic Voxel. It's in the environment. It's in bush. Here it is. So, well, this is not nicely centered in the middle. Let's do that manually like this. Let's see what else can I have. We need a collision shape. So let's add a collision shape 3D. We want a box shape, obviously. A box fits best here. And well, oh. And then the other side as well. And that's the main first thing, huh? Now let's get these spawned into the world first. There's an error. It's a particle issue. Okay, close all. And I guess we need to do it in like we have like a plains biome, which is a bunch of stuff. But at some point it will also spawn vegetation, and then here we'll need to also add the bush somehow with a very low chance and link it to our entity system, because that's really only for structures at the moment. It should not be too difficult, to be honest. It's just some calls that are put on a stack or something somewhere. Wow. I don't expect to have that many entities that it ever becomes an issue. So in my generator, we need a new block, or new block basically. Village general quest giver, which is this. We'll copy paste this, and let's get it out of here, and we call it bush. Yeah, bush, and then the entity will be a separate script, as always. And it will of course have an index that's one higher, and it will be an empty model because we just need it for this. And then bush is new bush. Get blocky model. I don't think I need that yet. Okay. Then we also have an entity manager somewhere. So 34 will give you the bush. Then here we'll need to also start creating the bush. So we have the quest giver entity. Let's make two files. Let's make a breakable entity.cs, and let's make a bush entity.cs. I want like a simple entity to just have some reference point. So the bush entity, first breakable entity, public partial, public abstract. Do we need to be partial? I don't think it needs to be, but breakable. Let's copy paste before I make a mistake in this. Breakable entity, and it is an entity, and this of course needs to be partial. Yeah, it does need partial. So it's a partial public class. Partial here. Yeah. And then it also needs to implement. Oh, quick fix. This is really all we need. At least right now. Then I'll put this here, and then the bush entity will be a public, not abstract, but a partial class bush entity. Let's also copy this. Bush entity, which is a breakable entity. and this should also, of course, holy, why does it implement all of this? Like this one I know, but why do we need this? I guess everyone needs this, every entity. And I just haven't... Oh, we don't need it because it's abstract, yeah, of course. Let's implement the abstract class. So... these things we'll need to do... We need like the health of these bushes. And that's something we'll need to put to a dict. I think it's only send out. Yeah, we need to probably change the update logic for breakables. But this can also go to the breakable, I think. Because this would need a protected int health. Which by default, let's make it 100. We also need a packed scene, of course, for the bush. Which will be the bush scene. Just reverse engineering my own code while doing this. Bush scene. Because I don't remember at all. And we need the scene, so not in the asset, but in the scenes entity, the bush. Here it is, copy path. And let's put it here. And in the ready, public override avoid ready. We'll need to instantiate the nodes. So a private static body 3D, bush static body, and this will be set to the bush scene dot instantiate static body 3D, and then we'll add it to the child. So I guess the to dict stuff will just be moved here. And also the from dict stuff, or the update from dict stuff, also in here. Let's see how the candle stuff handles this. So the candle, let's copy paste just then to the health. So health is just health, and then so we can just set health directly as this, right? Health is just so exactly like this. And actually I think also the interact inner behavior is not something for a bush, but is something in principle for a breakable. Is this an issue? No, it's not an issue. Let's see. If we interact with it, yeah, and interacting is really done just by interact really done by pressing F, I believe. Just that. And instead, for breakables, we'll have listeners, so we don't interact in any other way. So instead, I think we can keep this, And then we need to override the whole interact thing. Override interact to be completely empty. Interaction not done via interact input. Instead we'll listen to damage. Should never be called by the system on a breakable entity. So we're slowly getting everything out. Okay, now let's make the entity really part of it. So the push is 44 in the entity manager. We add case 44, new entity, push entity with exactly this. Now I'm wondering, should this even be part of the world generation? Or should it be a spawning thing? Because if we make it part of the world generation like we're doing now, when we regenerate part of the... but that's... I think that's fine. If you want to farm these items by just walking far away or reloading the game, I think that would be fine to have, to be honest. It's not... Does it matter? No, this should be pretty farmable, I guess. Is there a reason this is an entity? Like at all? Does this even... I can make a whole separate system again, of course. I guess we can always refactor breakable entities out of the entity system if we need to at some point, really need to. That's gonna cause really a mess with like the indexes. I think it's fine. Right? Is it fine? I'm really not sure. I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I think it's okay, but the consequence, I'm not sure I like the consequences of this. Like really. It doesn't really behave like an entity in my entity system. Like at all. Like really at all. So maybe it should just be a breakable item and then we spawn breakable items everywhere. Like we spawn NPCs. NPC spawner. Let's have a look here. Oh yeah. We can spawn enemies here. And we can delete them again. I think this would just be better. Now we don't make an NPC spawner, we make like an breakable item spawner. I think that really would just be better. On so many ways. It does suck. I kinda did like the entity system idea. But I guess not. Let's also get rid of bush here. And here also we get rid of bush. The whole bush thing will delete. And bush entity, well, it's still part of the world, but it will be in the items. Do we not have like an item thing? Where is like interactable item? It's in UI inventory. Yeah. Let's make a new folder in the world. New folder. Breakable items. .cs. No, not .cs. The folder. And we'll move these two. We change the names. So this will be breakable item. And breakable item will be a static body. 3D. And all of this we can delete. And a bush entity will just be not an entity, but this will just be called bush. And this will be a breakable item. Bush, that one I dare spell. Get rid of it, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of all of that. And this is still protected, but it's also exported. And then we put it on the bush, yeah? We go to the scripts, to the world, to breakable items, and a bush. I put a bush on here. And that's built. And now it does have a health. Alright. Now to spawn it in. That's gonna be the next challenge now. We have this NPC spawner. Which I have no clue where this is even. It's in world probably. Oh yeah, we give it a... So we can spawn enemies like this. There's not really going to be an NPC, but this also needs to be synced in the world for multiplayer now. It is really a mess, huh? But to be honest, it would not have been that much better in another way. And when you think about building a crafting system, the first thing that comes to mind is just a UI, and then you get some items and stuff. But how you get those items is then really its own pickle. Nah, I don't want to use the NPC spawner for this. We'll make a separate spawner. And this is of course in the world, and the world handles all of this. It should be pretty similar. It should actually be very similar. Like this should be exactly the same even. And we're gonna be putting stuff in this node, which it won't work. It just won't work. Tonight it is integrated with so much other stuff specifically for NPCs. It won't work to jam the breakable items in there. Well, then we don't do it, huh? Then we just make a separate thing. It's gonna take a while, but that's fine, I guess. So it's gonna have a health. For now, let's start by spawning it in. Let's make that our first thing to work on. So the NPC spawner is in the world, so we need to create an NPC spawner, but not call it NPC spawner. And we can make it an item spawner. I already have that, right? An item spawner. Item generator we have. We don't have an item spawner. Does it make sense for an item spawner to only spawn breakable items? Let's make it a breakable item spawner. That's all we'll have, right? Well, maybe we'll have chests that I want to have in the same. No, but chests will be in dungeons. They will be pre-placed. Yeah. So we'll get our new file, which is a breakable item spawner, which will be just the NPC spawner. Let's copy this and let's make this breakable item spawner. So, breakable item holder node that we'll need. Do I need a voxel tool? Maybe, who knows. Let's also quickly get rid of this docs. Spawns, breakable items, bushes, ores, etc. This kind of stuff does not nicely fit into the enemy generator, or no, the entity system. We need our generator, we need our world, we need an RNG, we need everything still. And the spawn rate can be quite a bit higher, at least for testing. Let's make it very high. So this is going to be it, and it's going to be called this instead. I guess we kind of gotta rename everything, huh? This is not gonna be called enemy node. This is gonna be called breakable item node. Not gonna be called delete NPC. Delete breakable item in chunk. The deletion part will be identical logic. Can also maybe make like a base class for the spawners. But will I have more spawners than this? And maybe at some point logic will be different. Yeah, let's keep it separate. This is again not spawn entities. This is spawn breakable items. Breakable item in chunk. Oh yeah, I made it completely height based. Or without height. The module itself handles everything with height. I didn't like that for whatever reason. So if the spawn rate is big enough, we need to spawn a breakable item or not. Let's set this thing up first. So we'll also have a private breakable item spawner. This we'll just call this. Yeah, no, this needs to be done as well. It's a new breakable item spawner. This terrain, and then what? The generator. So we also need to, of course, make this in the world. We need to add a node 3D, or apparently just a node, which we'll call breakable items container. Now this we need to set up. The breakable item container, which is here. Okay, now we'll continue to. We also need to set up this. What does the load despawner do? Ah. So it does despawn the entities. It should also start despawning the breakable items. Fun. But that's just really adding a +1 here. And adding a despawn thing. Yeah, so the despawn start logic we have in the other generator is only for normal terrain generation, not for lots. And it's checking it's doing polling every 2 seconds or so, I think. Maybe it's doing it a lot more often now. Oh, it's doing it so much more often, holy. But 2 is fine. 2 I actually don't know. We need to test that. Why it's so low. But also this will just be identical again for the breakable object spawner. The generator, does the generator need an NPC spawner? What does the and otherwise we'll also need to set this to nil. Yeah. What does the generator do with the NPC spawner? Oh. Yeah, we also need this. So breakable item spawner. Breakable item spawner. Public void set breakable item spawner. Spawner. And then we also need to call this one. Yeah. Maybe I could have just rewritten the NPC spawner. I'll do that at some point, maybe. So then also here, set breakable item spawner. Breakable item spawner. Okay. breakable item container, good. Oh no, I couldn't because... No, we could just have send it to a different holder node. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the way to do this is. In the NPC spawner, I could have also made a breakable item spawn, right? And then yeah. No, not really. It's not really possible. Not nice. We need to like make a whole... even then it stays a bit of a mess. Yeah, and this is also where it's going wrong. This needs to be a breakable item. Item. And a breakable item loss. We need a host despawn. So a public void host despawn, which is to do. And then we can also do load despawner, and the load despawner can also have a private void despawn breakable items, which will be for each. So we have an empty holder node. Now we also get a breakable item holder node is this. For each breakable item node in breakable item holder node. Yes, just putting this further. Get children, of course. I guess we'll really just copy paste this. And it will just be this. And then we'll put this here. And this now needs to also have a breakable item container. So that's all. That should be all. Also in the NPC spawner, we somewhere asked like, we asked a biome for a random enemy type. The biome should also be responsible for the type here. So we need to extend all the biomes. Fun. So random enemy type, get random breakable object type or breakable item type, and this we need to implement in everything as well. So like this. So it's not enemy types, but breakable object types, and it's called bush. And this is going to return bush, and all the others should just return nil. So for the sky ocean, for now, we'll just return nil. And also in the mountains it will return nil. And in the desert it will also return nil. Alright, so we need to pick a position. Spawn XZ pulse. So there is no I, so it's randy range from there's just no I in here. It's just 0 to 0 to what's it called? Chunk size, right? Or is it chunk size -1? Zero. Yeah, that should be 1, I guess. So chunk size -1. Then we can get both the find biome and height. Then we know both. Then we still need to type. So string breakable and item type is a biome that we get random breakable item type. Whoops, this is a world X world Y. X world plus is Y world plus. Now we'll need a private breakable item. Create get breakable item from type with string type or string item type, something like this. And then breakable item. Breakable item will be. Is there already another breakable item? Nope. This will be equal to get breakable item from type. We'll get the type. Then add child, breakable item. We'll need it in the world for the actuals. We need to put this in world. Yep. Oh, that sucks. But let's set this up. Item type. In the case of bush, break default. Throw new not implemented exception. That's breakable item type plus item type. This will return something, yeah. So resource loader. Yeah, this will be the packet scene. Or how did the candle do this? Yeah, it first creates a packet scene indeed. get a resource loader that loads, and we'll load a packed scene. This we don't gotta do during runtime actually. We can make this a beautiful static. So public static packed scene. Bush scene is, and then let's get the bush scene. It is still in the entity, and we need to move that to a new folder, breakable items, and the bush will be in breakable items instead. So we'll copy path, and then we'll turn this dot instantiate static no breakable item even. We don't need this break class. Yeah. So the world. Spawn enemy or something we have, yeah. So I will do a public I guess it will just be void, and we'll put it in a spawn breakable item, and we'll use a breakable item itself. No, this won't work for syncing it over. Yeah, and this will also be a public static then. Then we can still use this code, but call it from here. I think that makes more sense. So instead, we'll have an enemy ID. Oh yes. So not only next enemy ID, next entity ID, also next breakable item ID. Start will have integer breakable item ID, vector 3 a bus, and a string. Optionally it will have a string with a breakable item type. Just item type is fine, I guess, type. And that is by default nil. So breakable item, and we'll spawn this breakable item item. Yeah, now let's start with the obvious. Next breakable item ID plus plus. We'll only increment this for single player and host because others won't spawn items. And we'll return item at the end. Let's at least call it breakable item. Otherwise it's going to be a bit confusing, I guess. Okay. If item type is indeed nil, no, it should never be nil. It should never be allowed to be nil, because that's different for enemies. We don't want because then we're going to ask the enemy spawner to spawn a random enemy. Which is weird that it does this. I don't think this is ever used even. We don't need this. So breakable item is simply a breakable item spawner dot get breakable item from type item type, and we'll just call this and then breakable item dot position is pos breakable item dot. We don't have a terrain for this, I guess. I don't think we set any of these things. Let me just return it. Oh, we also put it in the breakable items container dot add child breakable item. Oh yeah, this is important. The name, that's important for syncing later. Item dot name is breakable item ID dot toString. That's important for syncing. So we have to receive remote enemy, and we'll now also get receive remote breakable item. Breakable item. Breakable item is spawn breakable item. This will be breakable item ID. I'm not sure what we do with a dictionary here. It's an item type, but this is just item type. Item type. Receive remote breakable item. This pos update from dictionary. Yeah. Breakable item dict. I don't think we need this for the status. So when we spawn in a breakable item, we'll spawn it in with like a certain amount of health or other stats. So we need to be syncing over some state at the start as well. So this will be breakable item. Update from dictionary is not implemented, of course. Nope. So we'll do a public void, which will have a Godot dictionary. And now it does accept this. So we can also now spawn breakable item, break oddball item, breakable item, and indeed if the network mode is host, then we'll RPC this, which will be a breakable item name. Position to dictionary, also not yet implemented, so that will be a public dictionary to dictionary, and we'll return new. Let's return just an empty dict, and we do also set the item type. So then it will also be spawned, and the update to and from dict will need to implement later. But at least now I think we're ready to spawn. But we now made it more like the NPC spawner. What did I change here? I don't want to change something here. Yeah, NPC spawner. So we don't get a breakable item directly from here. We don't do this either. This is done by the world. Do we have the world here? We do have the world here, good. So breakable item will be equal to Okay. World.spawn breakable item, which will be world.next breakable ID. I guess we can just put this except for the +1, and we'll need the item type. No clue this will work if we even compile, but let's see. So let's join the world. Do we have a bunch of errors already? Yep. For type. Ah. Oh yeah. If it's breakable item type is not nil, then we'll put it here. That's at least something that would be wrong, because we're returning nil for so many parts of the biome. So let's check in the remote if it's now somewhere here. Okay, so there are a bunch of breakable items. Where are they? It's like 300 and -12. That's so. This is the correct direction. 331. A little bit more this way, and -12. So it's in the ground, it seems. It's way too small. Yeah, okay. That's also an issue. We need to make it bigger. That's one thing, that's for sure. And the bush itself needs to be like 2.5 times as big, I would say. Let's move it back to the center. Oh, I'll move it to the correct screen so you can also see what I'm doing. And then let's also correct the collision shape now, because it needs to be larger. So now it's bigger, but probably it's still somewhere in the ground. It should really be everywhere, right? Ah yeah, here it is. But it is indeed in the ground. Okay. Let's make sure it's not in the ground. So the Y world pose is correct, and then you'd think that this is just like the 0 point, but it seems to be in the middle somehow for some reason. Like this is it, right? Yeah. Okay, what if we just put in like +1? Like that may solve the issue. Yeah, that fixes it, it seems. So I'm promptly booted off. So that's correct. It's going nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if it also does correctly spawn these in multiplayer. Then we've set up the base system for this, at least. Let's check it out. So let's host a world, and let's join an IP. So we have a bunch of them here. At the world spawn, let's move to the world spawn, which is over here. Yeah, it spawns at correctly this exact same spot. Yeah. So this is correctly being synced. Of course, it still misses a bunch of stuff, but hey. This is definitely progress. The error had something to do with connection, losing connection. So my guess is that for now this is done. Let's keep the high spawn rate while testing, because we need to really be able to test it nicely. So close all and close all, and let's go to breakable item and bush. Yo, Sonder. It's been a couple weeks. I've been very busy, man, with a lot of our systems. Good to have you here. I'm probably gonna stop streaming for a bit because I've been at it for like over an hour, and need to get some groceries, put some laundry in the machine, stuff like that, and then I'll come back to work on this system later. Which we're working on the the system of getting crafting materials, and I still think I spawned. I opened 2 instances. Nope, that's not. So we worked on a lot of stuff. So for example, now you see there's new holding animations when walking. So we're actually holding the weapons. We're holstering weapons like this now. We have abilities like these. This is what we worked on now. We're spawning these bushes, which will become breakable objects soon, and will drop. These will drop wood and string, I guess. And there's a bunch of them. What more did implement? Oh yeah, armor. You can now become a naked man. Yeah, laundry sucks. But it needs to happen, right? Here we see the same problem that the enemy spawner has. But to be honest, once we rework rivers, this will be not an issue anymore. I don't like the way the rivers cut into the environment, really. It's meh. Quite a mess, I think. Oh, it's also placed on the side, it seems. Thanks, yeah, a lot of progress indeed, but it's not correctly being placed at all, it seems. Because this needs to be... I think this is also okay. It will also always touch some voxel, and at least it's not exactly in the center. I also thought I made them like a darker color than the grass, but I guess the grass is also a lighter color. It's fine. Always change it if you want to. I love how you get booted off these things now. Oh. It seems if you try to fight it, you can still get fall damage. If you stay on them long enough. Yeah. I guess the booting off part should probably be made stronger. Like this should not give fall damage yet, and it does so. Also the threshold needs to be upped, I guess. There's still a cool bug with water and the smash ability, by the way, where you can infinitely... it doesn't actually smash until you hit the ground, so... You can keep your speed if you're in water. So right now, easy travel bug in the game. But we'll see in the end. But for now, I guess that's it. I'm gonna go do my chores, and then later we'll get back and continue developing this breakable item stuff. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.